tell you more about his journey and to tell you about his journey and his mission and how you can leverage the passion and power of entrepreneurs for your organization. Please meet Michael Dermer. Michael.
Thank you so much, Franklin. It's a privilege to be here and excited to have this partnership with the United Way. You know, to take off on a couple of your comments, you know, entrepreneurship is so vital to our communities. And yet, if you really think about it, we never really set them up for success. We say to a lot of entrepreneurs in different communities, you know, just go figure it out on your own. And, you know, the mission of the Lonely Entrepreneur, and as you said, right, was to empower 1 million entrepreneurs, because we noticed that governments and philanthropies and corporations all wanted to try to empower these individuals, but didn't have a way to do it at a greater scale. There might be, you know, 10 entrepreneurs in a program, and that was really good. But if we're really going to have a transformational impact on a community, and especially our underserved community, what we found was, and said to ourselves, why isn't there a platform? Like, why isn't there a one-stop shop that an entrepreneur could go to have a better chance of success? And so, as you mentioned, Franklin, we built it, formed our 501c3 back in 2018. And hopefully what we're doing, and we're going to talk about here today as part of our partnership, is the opportunity that a program and a platform like this provides to empower really all of Baltimore and Central Maryland for anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur. And we're going to share more about that. So it's a privilege to have this discussion and a great opportunity for our partnership to really have a transformational impact on the Central Maryland community. So we want to spin up our slides. Terrific. So let us talk to you a little bit about an overview of the program here. First and foremost, as Franklin and I have been discussing, is the whole idea of being able to empower entrepreneurs at scale. So what does that mean? You say, well, wait a minute, what does it mean to do it at scale? It means that because the Lonely Entrepreneur Program and what the United Way is going to be offering is the ability to provide the entrepreneurs of your choice with free access to our platform. And that is what we call the Lonely Entrepreneur Learning Community, as Franklin alluded to. That is a one-stop shop of knowledge, tools, and support. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And the opportunity that provides is the ability to do it for not tens of entrepreneurs, but thousands of entrepreneurs. And for each of you to do what you see in the second bullet there, which is to not only do the great work of empowering these entrepreneurs, but align it to your objectives, right? Whether it be your diversity objectives, your small business objectives, your community or ESG objectives, by being able to empower the entrepreneurs of your choice, whether you're interested in supporting the Black community or the military or returning citizens or, you know, ... The ability to select the number and type of entrepreneurs that you want to empower through the United Way to have the ability to have access to this platform. And then what goes along with that is unlocking at a greater scale your volunteerism programs. Obviously, many organizations throughout Maryland are quite generous with how they want to deploy their employees and other resources to try to help address some of these issues. And we provide a really robust way through the platform to unlock that volunteerism and hopefully, you know, not only add to dollars that are contributed, but obviously to the impact that talented people can have on a lot of the entrepreneurs that are here. Okay, so yes, it is about the entrepreneurs, and yes, it's about the community, but it's also about the way the program has been structured to enable you as the funders of these initiatives to pick the number and type of entrepreneurs that align with your diversity, equity, small business, or ESG strategies. Next. So what is this thing we call the learning community? You know, we talk about it being this one-stop shop. And when we said to ourselves, okay, what should a one-stop shop have? We concluded there's a bunch of things. First is what we call knowledge, right? So what's an income statement? What do I do when I'm freaking out? So there are now 1,000 learning modules that address the business and personal issues that people face. That's combined with tools, you know, where do I go for marketing templates and sample legal agreements, and how do I pick an accounting package? And then also support in two ways. One, unlimited group coaching, where people can sign up for an unlimited number of online group coaching sessions. And then what we call our community, where people can go and get their questions answered in real time by members of our team. In addition to that, as you see here, access to capital, over 150 financing sources, and this amazing community of thousands of entrepreneurs, not just in Maryland, but throughout the country, that support each other. So the whole idea is, by having a platform, we are enabling you, in partnership with the United Way, to select the entrepreneurs of your choice that align with your objectives. And then what we're doing is providing them with all the tools that are available in the learning community to try to give them a better chance of success. Okay. Next slide, please. So now we're going to talk to a couple of different of our favorite people in the world. And I'm going to start us off with Sean Grant, and I'll let everybody introduce themselves. Sean from One Columbus and the Columbus Partnership is going to talk about how the program was deployed in Columbus, Ohio. Stephen Hewitt, the Director of Diverse Segments for UPS, is going to talk about how the program was deployed nationwide in line with their small business and diversity strategy. Matthew, who some of you have gotten to know a little bit because of the famed cheesecake shared by Governor Moore at the Preakness. Matthew is actually a participant in the program who has received the platform, been in the platform for a while. It's going to give you a little bit of his experience about it. And then, as Franklin mentioned, Caleb, who served up those terrific treats that we all got, is just going to talk about a little bit about what it's like to be an entrepreneur and what some of those needs are. And then we're going to wrap it up. So without further ado, I'm going to leave it to Sean Grant to introduce himself and talk a little bit about Columbus, Ohio. Sean?
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Franklin, for allowing me to be on this panel with Michael and this distinguished panel that Michael's pulled together. My name is Sean Grant, and as the slide mentioned, I am the CFO for the Columbus Partnership, One Columbus, and Smart Columbus. Those are three separate organizations that sit underneath the Columbus Partnership umbrella. The Columbus Partnership is a group of companies, the 80 largest organizations, corporations, and institutions in Central Ohio. The CEOs make up that membership group. And one of those organizations that we engaged Michael with was One Columbus, which is our regional economic development organization. The purpose of that was, as we thought about the progress that we've made over the last decade, and we're one of the fastest growing cities and regions in the country, is that when we saw the growth that we had done over the last decade, not everyone participated in that growth. And we started looking at our metrics, and we started looking at who was participating and who was not. And a lot of businesses that weren't participating in this growth and this expansion in our region was minority businesses. And so we tried to find solutions and platforms and strategies and initiatives. I looked around the country to find something that we could implement here in Central Ohio to help close the gap that we were seeing in this community. Had the opportunity to connect with Michael, might have been a couple of years ago, and became engaged in this platform, loved the platform. And I said, Michael, we need to roll this out in Central Ohio. Connected with partners throughout the community, end up getting engaged with the Columbus Urban League here in Central Ohio, pulled together one of our financial partners in PNC Bank, and said, hey, we want to provide this to our entrepreneurial community here in Central Ohio. I think it's the only platform that provides a one-stop shop for resources, information, community, and coaching, as well as this thing that we've been challenged with for a long time, which is access to capital. And so we've rolled that out and are rolling it out again, by the way, we teamed up with our Columbus Foundation, which is our largest foundation here in Central Ohio, to expand it to more entrepreneurs in Central Ohio because of the success we've had over the last year or so. I think it's important that as we continue to think about small business in general, but minority business in particular, that the one-stop shop for tools, access, coaching, and information is important. We have a lot of great entrepreneur support organizations here in Central Ohio. The problem is they don't talk to one another. And you as an entrepreneur tend to have to jump around to get the information that you really need to move your business forward. That's a challenge here. These entrepreneurs are busy trying to run their business every single day. don't have time to jump from one ESO to the next, and sometimes getting different information. And so they're piecemealing their business operation as they're learning to grow, scale, or start a business. And we think that this platform does away with all of that. It gives you one place, one source of truth that you can lean into, engage in the resources, learn from the modules, and it actually helps our entrepreneur support organizations be able to have a multiplier effect with regards to their outreach. Those entrepreneur support organizations are limited by the number of people that they have on staff. So if they have 5 people on the staff, they're only getting to maybe 4 or 5 people a day. With this platform, they can expand that to reach out to hundreds of companies a day, to get them ready for their meetings. So when those entrepreneurs come into their offices, they're actually already prepped for the meeting. It actually makes for a more efficient meeting for those organizations that are trying to advance our entrepreneurs forward. So I'm a big fan of Michael and the platform. And I encourage anyone who's a supporter and thinks seriously about these issues, the challenges, and the opportunity, by the way, because I think we're just scratching the surface on what we can actually do with this platform. I think Michael and his team have done a great job in pulling this together. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Sean. You know, it's interesting. A couple of points that I want to take off on. Number one, if you had a chance to see the slide really quickly, you know, in our initial effort in Columbus with One Columbus, we focused on specifically Black entrepreneurs, but Columbus Foundation decided to focus on Black, Latin, social impact, and women entrepreneurs, right? Because that aligned to what their philanthropic goals were. So that's what I'm talking about with respect to everybody who's here today, is that the flexibility to apply it to the specific type of entrepreneur that you'd like to support in line with your objectives. And I think Sean makes another really, really good point about local support and community organizations. We all know that chambers of commerce, urban leagues, small business development centers, incubators, accelerators work really, really hard and are incredibly dedicated to support the entrepreneurs in their community. The challenge is, and I'll take, Sean, your example of the Urban League, you know, they've got 3 program officers that are trying to serve all of Columbus, Ohio, right? And when they do, they're only doing it when they're walking in the proverbial door. So what we're hoping to do is not only empower the entrepreneurs and not only help corporations and philanthropies deliver on their objectives, but also to provide more capacity to these support organizations that very much want to help every entrepreneur, but just don't have the capacity to do it. So thank you again, Sean, for sharing how we've done it in Columbus. Sure, please.
Michael, one more thing I think I want to add this is that when we think about entrepreneurs and we think about startups, and I want to put this disclaimer out there. The lonely entrepreneur in the platform is actually, regardless of where you're at in your business cycle, whether you're a startup or whether you're existing business, there is something there for you. And so regardless of where you are in your business cycle, your business maturation, the platform can work with startups to someone that's trying to go from, you know, 500,000 to $1 million, or from $1 million to 10 million bucks. The platform allows you the resources and access to be able to scale your business in a meaningful way.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sean. You know, we say twinkle in your eye to Series A, but for all of us that have had entrepreneurs in the relationships we have, you'll have entrepreneurs that are just starting. You'll have entrepreneurs that have $4 million businesses that just have a different series of challenges. Whether you form an LLC, right? You know, Caleb, we were talking when we had a chance to meet, right? Like, what are the first steps that you do? But then there's people down the line that have never managed a board or raised money. And again, where do they go to do it? And so, Sean, I think those are really, really cogent points. I'm going to transition now to Stephen from UPS, who I'll turn it over to, but I think you're going to see the range. So as Sean mentioned, you know, his organization is very much an economic development organization. The Columbus Foundation is obviously well known as a traditional foundation. And then there's this great award-winning UPS Unite program, which Stephen has spearheaded. So please, Stephen, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your program.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Hewitt. I am the marketing director for the diverse customer segment here at our headquarters. We are the fearless team that works to support and empower women-owned and or minority-owned businesses through a whole host of programs, resources, strategic partnerships, and other activations. Our flagship program, however, as Michael mentioned, is our UPS Ignite program. This is an outstanding program we launched little over a year ago, which is in essence a program of partnerships. Four to be exact. I'll touch briefly on the first three before I get to the reason we're all here, which is the outstanding partnership we have with Michael, Victoria, and the Lonely Entrepreneurs. So the first program underneath that umbrella is a partnership with Beyond CEO, which touches on a program to provide one-on-one mentorship to Black CEOs. This is a partnership with the Young Presidents Organization, alumni of that organization, CEOs providing expert mentorship to Black CEOs that we sponsor. Second program is a partnership with the Kellogg School of Management and Northwestern University. We'll be partnered to provide an executive MBA program for some of our UPS customers to help them better understand the analytics of financial management and other key topics of import as they look to maintain their competitive advantages growing their business. Third partner is the Axion Opportunity Fund. They are a nonprofit CDFI that we work with to provide access to capital, which we all know has been a point of a challenge, if you will, for women-owned and minority-owned businesses for years. So Axion has worked tirelessly to provide access to microloans, grants, and other financial instruments so that diverse-owned businesses can actually capitalize on supplier contracts. They have the working capital they need to grow their business, that they can meet the needs to keep the doors open when challenges arise. And as a business owner, they will arise. Very happy to have that partnership underneath our umbrella. And the fourth partner, I'm happy to discuss today some partnership with the Lonely Entrepreneur. We are really excited about the work we've seen done with the over 200 businesses that have gone through the program in the last 18 months. We have seen outstanding success stories, and we expect to see many more. The reason we are so happy to be partners with the Lonely Entrepreneurs, well, in essence, it's time. For any small business owner, time is their greatest asset. Entrepreneurs, small business owners in particular, work 25 hours a day. While there are many great programs out there providing access to education, coaching, mentorship, many of them have a time-based component, which most entrepreneurs just cannot do. It is very difficult for an entrepreneur to be asked to be somewhere for 3 hours at a dedicated time and place and step away from their business, their bread and butter. The beauty of the Lonely Entrepreneur is outstanding content, world-class content, on demand. So when an entrepreneur has time, at 11 o'clock at night after they've closed up, they've checked the books, they've shut down, and they're ready to get back to some other matters, they can pop into the Lonely Entrepreneur and brush up. Whether it's understanding how to beef up their marketing plan, whether it's about understanding the surgeons they'll hear as they prepare for investment meetings. When they're preparing to go in front of VCs, private equity groups, family offices, there's content there to help prep them when they're ready. The fact that they're only 3 clicks from the answers they need, literally 10 seconds away from the answers to whatever question they have for starting and running their business, has provided tremendous value for our customers. Now, I'll touch briefly on a few of the success stories that have convinced us that we need to further invest into this partnership in 2024 and beyond. First is an organization called Tones Melanin. This is an apparel brand founded by a Black woman named Ashley Jones that celebrates the HBCU culture. They've been in the program for 9 months. They just recently secured a deal with Mark Cuban on Shark Tank. We've been so pleased with the growth we've seen from this team. We're actually now bringing her in to actually design limited edition UPS apparel for some upcoming activations in September Fashion Week. We are really excited. And we know Michael, Victoria, and their team have really helped actually get her questions answered, help her think through her business, what opportunities has she not capitalized on yet, and where the business can be in the next 3 to 5 years, beyond just her core business. Another great success story is Sophia Middle, who was recently awardee of a $10,000 grant, and our program is now scaling her business. She's got an apparel line out of Orlando, Florida. Really love what we're seeing with Miss Middle. We've been so pleased that we haven't even announced this yet. We're making 40 seats for our upcoming cohort available to students at Spelman and Morehouse, because we know that the foundational knowledge that the Lonely Entrepreneur provides to entrepreneurs, it's better off in the hands of entrepreneurs as they start these journeys. When you start out, you don't know what you don't know. So having access to the information that are going to allow you to avoid the pitfalls that put many great businesses out of business within 5 years we're best positioning these students for success as they seek their own entrepreneurial journey. So we want to actually move access to this information even further up while they're still in school and position them to help face those entrepreneurial dreams now and not wait until they get out of school. So we're really excited about where this is going, and we're looking to take it even further downstream from there, make it available to high school students at some point in the next 2 to 3 years, because we now know from what we're seeing online in our intelligence, students, young people, are starting businesses earlier. They have access to digital natives, to e-commerce, and a ton of social media tools. They don't have to wait to be adults anymore. Mr. Hayes is a great example of that. We've met 2 others that are already going to be part of the program. When we know if we give these young people access, they're going to grow up to be the next Oprahs, the next Bill Gates, the next Zuckerbergs, the next Michael Dermers. We're excited to be a part of that story here at UPS, and we know the Lonely Entrepreneur is going to be a great partner as we build upon the work we're trying to do to support women-owned and minority-owned businesses.
Terrific. Thank you, Stephen. If the folks in the anyway could spin up Stephen's slide for a second, I want to just show what Stephen was alluding to. If you think of the various different organizations and types of entrepreneurs that were empowered, when this was originally rolled out, it was rolled out through the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the National Urban League, and National ACE, and was provided to Black, Latin women, LGBTQ+, Native American, and Asian entrepreneurs, right? And so the ability to support all of those. And as Stephen mentioned, in addition to that, more recently, now we're providing the platform to students at Moorhead and Spelman. And so this is just a really good example of aligning it to your particular needs. What Stephen also alluded to is the fact that if you think of Stephen's role is not a philanthropic role, right? He's in the marketing side of the business that's thinking about small business acquisition. And so even though we're doing a heck of a lot of good in the community and really helping these entrepreneurs, and you see over to the right there, one of them got a deal with Mark Cuban on Shark Tank, the Tones of Melanin. We're also helping organizations like banks and UPS and others. We get quotes all the time saying, I never would have thought to go to a shipping company to help me with my business. And so we always talk about the impact of the entrepreneurs, which is obviously first and foremost, but it's also the ability to align it to these corporate and philanthropic objectives that we're talking about. So thank you, Stephen, very much, and appreciate the kind words. Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to Matthew from Hiatus, who's an actual accomplished entrepreneur that's growing and also a user of the platform. So Matthew, please tell us a little bit about Hiatus and how the platform has impacted your business.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So Hiatus is based in Baltimore. We're a family-owned cheesecake manufacturer. We started back in 2016. We are vendors in your local Whole Foods markets. More recently, we just won Kroger's Go Fresh and Local Business Accelerator, and have been in the process of pretty much scaling the business and building out a supply chain, which is where the Lonely Entrepreneur comes in. So we started through the UPS Ignite program, and then learned about the Lonely Entrepreneur. And the cool thing about it is, like, I've never done this before, so not knowing exactly how to build a supply chain out, it takes a lot of research and a lot of questions that are hard to find the answers to. And it was good to be able to go and have access to someone where I could just set up a meeting, talk to them. They could see exactly where we were in the process, and then, ask us questions and kind of guide us through that process so that we can achieve the success that we need to achieve. So yeah, that's pretty much how we've been trying to grow with the Lonely Entrepreneur. It's been great.
And we joke around with Matthew that the minute you get into Lonely Entrepreneur, you immediately get a video clip with Governor Moore, as you may have seen at the Preakness. Him and his wife were effusive over the taste of the cheesecakes. But I think, Matthew makes a really good point about, think about some of the things that Stephen was talking about and Sean was talking about, but different stages. And for Matthew, it was about supply chain. And I want to talk a little bit about the hands-on part of it. Yes, there are 1,000 learning modules that Stephen alluded to, but there is hands-on help. There is unlimited online group coaching. So people can sign up with a live human being on any topic that is being presented, and a place where they can go and get their questions answered real time in the platform during business hours. So this is not set it and forget it and go figure it out on your own. It's always there, as Stephen alluded to, but somebody says, oh, I've never done supply chain before, right? How do I figure that out? There may be learning modules, and at the same time, they're tapping into those other things. So I think that the whole idea here is that everybody's a different step of their journey. And there's an incredible number of things that people have to accomplish. And as we all know, for our underserved communities, those challenges are even greater. These challenges that we're addressing are not just business challenges, they're the personal challenges that go along the way. And so that's all part of, being part of this community and trying to take people where they are, whatever stage it is, and give them a better chance of success. Stephen, you mentioned it. People are trying to solve these issues already. It's not that they're not trying to solve them. They're just solving them very inefficiently, right? By having to go all over the place and say, type, should I form an LLC? Well, we've all done that, and we know that we have to discern that one very issue. And so I think that the ability to put this in the hands of entrepreneurs and help people at every step of their journey through a program like we're talking about here for you through the United Way can really have the impact I think we want to have. And now we're going to turn to Caleb. So those of us that were at the annual meeting got to experience the delicious treats. In fact, I think Franklin, when I was speaking, nobody was paying attention because everybody was eating the cookies because they were so good. And Caleb, we would just like everybody to learn a little bit more about your business and some of the things that have been challenges and opportunities as you build Flower X. So Caleb, it's all yours.
Thank you for letting me have the floor. I started this business just because my mom was like, well, you make all these baked goods, so why don't you sell them? And I'm like, sure. I was also greatly inspired by my little cousin, who also started their own business called Pickles Pastries for dog treats. And I got inspired by her and my mom and dad, who influenced me to start a baking business like this. And honestly, the opportunities that I had were like me getting invited into farmers markets, because that's where I showed off all the food that I had. I also have to thank my customers as well for their patronage and helped me get as far as I've gotten, and for my dad for his amazing quality control, as he calls it. And honestly, the challenges that's been on the way is mostly me trying my best not to spend all my savings and stuff like that. I'm fortunate enough to not have a lot of challenges. And honestly, I have to thank the Lord for that. But when it comes to challenges so far, it's just things are going very slowly right now. And I kind of just wanted to maybe pick up speed a little bit.
We can already tell Caleb's on his way to be a CEO, right? And for any of you who had a chance to talk with Caleb at the annual event, he was up all night cooking for everybody and talks about all the quality, the control that goes with that. But Caleb's a great example of obviously you were inspired by a particular thing for you, Caleb, but oftentimes, especially in underserved communities that don't have the privilege of capital and access and education and all the things we talk about, entrepreneurship becomes a way to unlock potential that may not exist in other places. So Caleb, thank you so much for your thoughts. Sure, Caleb, please.
I do have to say one more thing, because my mom just reminded me about one of the challenges, because my brain isn't really working right now, but it's also kitchen space as well. Right now I'm baking all the treats that I usually do in my house, and the house kitchen gets very dirty very quickly, and other people have to bake as well. in the kitchen. So, kitchen space is also very important right now.
Yeah. So think about this. This is the journey, right? The journey is I've got this great product and I'm cooking in my kitchen, right? And somebody else is, I'm forming an LLC, and somebody else is, like Matthew, further along, had success, and now have to think about supply chain to do it at a greater scale and all the other things that go with that. And I think that's what makes entrepreneurship so challenging. And when you have the additional challenges of lack of access to capital and some of the underlying systemic issues, it becomes absolutely critical to some of Sean's points to take people wherever they are and give them a better chance of success. And since we're focused on our teenagers, we wanted to spin up, we found the youngest participant in the Lonely Entrepreneur Learning Community. She actually started her business, I believe, when she was 8. Now she's a little bit further along, but if we can go ahead and spin up that video of Ava to talk a little bit about her experience.
Good. I would say that the biggest improvement or what has really helped is that any question that I have about any aspect of my business, we can easily find on the TLE website library. And the info is very organized, easy to find, and definitely easy for me to understand at 14. Because seeing them all together on the library really helped me to understand what they were and how they all went together and connected.
Awesome. So I think that Franklin, Laura, the rest of the United Way team, it's a privilege to be in this partnership with you. I think that we are, poised to have a real transformational impact on the Central Maryland community. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura and then take some questions, I believe.
Wonderful. I am so inspired by this conversation. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sean and Stephen and Caleb, Matthew. This is just I'm getting really hungry with talking about all this cheesecake and sweet treats. So really, really hungry right about now. But just let us take a moment to give a virtual round of applause to Michael and our esteemed panel. It is clear from today's discussion that fueling the power and dreams of entrepreneurs can spell success for us all. And my name is Laura Johnson. I serve as Senior Vice President and Chief Acceleration Officer for our Social Impact Accelerator. And we're so excited to launch this partnership with the Lonely Entrepreneur. It is truly an opportunity to accelerate the dreams of entrepreneurs, propel your own company goals for diversity, access to opportunity, and community building, while all driving growth for our economy. So excited about what's ahead for us. When you invest in entrepreneurs, you stimulate new jobs, innovation, along with new products and services that can potentially improve people's lives. And that is really what we're excited about. So we invite you to spark something bigger, a movement that taps into the entrepreneurial spirit all around us, as you just heard from so many incredible stories. And it's easy to get involved with the Lonely Entrepreneur and the United Way. You can simply email me or a member of the Lonely Entrepreneur team, and we'll be happy to set up a meeting to learn about your goals and explore opportunities for partnership in this exciting initiative. And I want to thank everyone for your time today. And like our entrepreneurs, we want you to continue to dream big. Michael, I think we're going to allow folks to come off of their mute and answer a few questions. So we've got time for a few questions. I did see one in the chat earlier about proposal writing, and does the platform allow for AI in proposal writing? Is that a module that allows for support in that area?
Great question. Yeah, two different things. Within the whole concept of revenue generation and sales, there's a lot of stuff in there about sales process, Laura. That's proposal writings, RFP, how to create standard tools and materials, a challenge that entrepreneurs have at really early stages because they feel like every sales meeting is like a new one. And so we talk a lot about standardized proposals and standardized requests for proposals and things like that. And with the advent of AI, we've just been adding, and we continue to add a whole bunch of content using AI to bring the best of the best, and also how to use it in your business, right? How to take advantage of it to be more efficient. It provides great opportunities for entrepreneurs to integrate it in where they may not have the dollars to be able to hire people, but understanding how to do that. So very much a topic that's there's lots of learning modules and more being added as we speak.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that. I see Ariane. Ariane, long hand, your hand is raised. Yep.
Yes. Hi,
You've got the
everyone.
floor.
Thank
Welcome.
you, Laura. So for context, I'm running Baltimore's Tech Company of the Year, where I've invented a first of its kind feminine hygiene dispenser that gives people free pads and tampons in restrooms around the globe. We are quite far along when it comes to early stage companies, but I wanted to know, one, how are you seeing founders leverage this opportunity in a climate where we are often over-mentored and underfunded? And my next part of that question would be, what capacity does the program offer for leveraging public-private partnerships? I'll let you take it away on the first.
Sure, thank you very much, and congratulations. You know, a lot of times when we talk about the funding, right? More and more funding sources come up every day, but the question is, have leaders and CEOs and entrepreneurs set up their organization to be appropriate to win that funding, right? If you think about, for example, a CDFI that is really committed to providing funding for underserved entrepreneurs, especially, what they will tell you is that, you know, maybe 5 out of 100 get funding, but there's another 200 or 300 or 500 that are really, really good businesses that haven't created some of the foundational elements to actually be appropriate for funding. So it's all of those things together. What we're trying to do is coach people up, help them get their financial house in order, right? So they can walk in the door to available funding sources. And to your point, there's still not enough of them. But I think the gap has been, and Sean spoke to this a little bit, is there's a whole bunch of skills you have to learn along the way to be prepared to receive funding, whether it's grant funding or debt funding, or certainly equity investments. I think with respect to public-private partnerships, there's 2 other things in the platform that everybody should be aware of. One is we have over 150 financing sources for all kinds of different entrepreneurs. So you can search for Black, Latin, LGBTQ, debt, equity, and again, what should be in a one-stop shop. Like, you shouldn't have to go all over the place to figure this out. And that also dovetails with the other way that public and private partnerships are developing, which is around supplier diversity and procurement. You know, again, we ask entrepreneurs like you to go figure out all the supplier diversity programs, right? And so we're bringing together, I believe it's over 200 supplier diversity programs. Some are public, some are private. So you have one place to go to apply for those. But then we've also got tons of learning modules on what does it take to go from selling 1 cookie to UPS to selling 10,000 cookies to UPS, and what do they expect from you, and what are the steps you have to learn along the way. So, you know, we think of entrepreneurism as a series of skills that you have to develop, and hopefully we're helping develop towards all the aims that you mentioned in your questions.
That sounds great. And for context, I'm best known for raising 1.2 million non-dilutive through 47 competitions, 2.6 million. I think I was the first 100th Black woman to get VC dollars, and now we're raising 8 million. But this is diversified capital is important, especially in a hardware company. And I really, really appreciate the attention to detail on supplier diversity, as we're the only woman in NBE certified dispenser company in the country. So thank you.
Well, if I can chime in for just a second, can everyone hear me?
Yep.
The other value that I'd love to stress that I probably should have earlier is the value of the relationships cultivated through Long Entrepreneurs events like these. Now that I'm aware, Ms. Long, I believe I came across your company, Black Ambition. Not totally sure.
Yes, that's correct.
But by virtue of understanding what you're doing and what you're looking to do, because Michael brought us together, I would actually love to connect you to our procurement team, because we do have thousands of warehouse facilities throughout the country. all of which have women workers. And the opportunity to discuss having your products in our facilities, would meet a need. So let's definitely touch base offline and see if we can get those conversations started with our procurement team.
So Stephen, I want to also add, because this goes back to the comment about volunteerism. Now, we mentioned that the program gives you the ability to unlock your volunteerism program for those of you from the corporate world. We provide 3 ways that employees of an organization can volunteer. They can hold 1-hour coaching sessions on a topic. So let's say you have somebody from finance that's going to talk about income statements. They can mentor, so that's 8 1-hour sessions, or they can actually help us continue to build out learning modules. And UPS is a perfect example of that. UPS has contributed lots and lots of learning modules around, no surprise, logistics and procurement. And so while we as an organization continue to evolve the platform, we're hopefully also helping our corporate partners unlock their volunteer programs through kind of a low, medium, and high level of effort, depending on what they're interested in. One other question that I got to me that we should address, and we'll work with everybody in the United Way, is how does it work financially? And at a very high level, the dollars that you commit are dictated by the number of individuals you want to support in the platform. So whether or not that's Black or Latin or LGBTQ, whatever the particular segment you're going after, as a follow-up to this, us in the United Way will be providing you that. But just the main concept is that the dollars dictate the number of entrepreneurs that are in the platform.
Thank you for that, Michael.
And again, it's free to the entrepreneurs.
Always free to the entrepreneurs, yes.
And Caleb, I see your hand raised.
Hello, my question was just, are we gonna have like another meet like this? And I don't know if we're gonna I don't know if we touched on this exactly, but like, how exactly do we get the help that we need? Like, is there a website we go to, or are we just gonna touch upon this in like another meet or something?
Yeah, great question, Caleb. So the way that this works when funding is provided, and like the stuff that Stephen, that Franklin mentioned about the initial cohort of people, you simply go to a landing page, you sign up. It's all free to you because it's funded by somebody else. You fill out a couple of fields and you're in, and then you have access to the platform that has all that in there. So Caleb, we'll make sure you get access to it.
Wonderful. I don't see any additional hands raised. Michael, I can't see if, just looking here. No, I think we've covered.
Hey, Laura and Michael, the folks who know me, I'm fairly competitive at most things that I touch. And so you may have heard that his goal at Lonely Entrepreneur is to achieve how many people to help? Was anyone listening? How many entrepreneurs did he want to help? Can someone shout it out?
1 million.
1 million. So we, I hope folks are listening, and folks who are in positions of funding or have access to funding partners, we here in Central Maryland and Maryland broadly, we want to be the state in the country that provides the funding at levels so that we're really capturing the largest share of that million targeted entrepreneurs. So we can do it. As Governor Moore continues to say, we don't want to leave anyone behind. That includes lonely entrepreneurs. That includes Marylanders who are budding entrepreneurs like Caleb and Ariane and so many. We really want to make sure that we have the wherewithal financially to be able to undergird this effort and make this boatload of information, right, and coaching support available to a large segment of Marylanders who are interested in the support. So please spread the word. We will be at a city near you, as they say, right, Michael? We'll be knocking on doors galore and talking with so many of you on this line about how we can actually get into rooms and rub shoulders with people who get the vision, who catch exactly what we're trying to achieve here with the Lonely Entrepreneur and make a big difference for Maryland.
I think that is the final word, Franklin. Thank you so much. And the competition is on. We're ready. Thank you all so much for joining today. Have a great rest of the day, and please stay connected. We'll be sending out the recording and all of the details for learning more about this partnership. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.